Please, I know it's late, but she won't stop crying. I don't know what else to do." The number on the phone at 3 a.m. was desperate, breaking. Nurse Claire Whitmore sat up in her cramped studio apartment, her heart already responding before her mind caught up. The number wasn't familiar. The address wasn't in her usual rotation. But the raw fear in that father's voice, she knew that sound. "I'm coming," she said simply. "Hold on, I'm coming." She shouldn't have gone. It wasn't her patient, wasn't her shift. She'd worked a double at the county hospital, her third this week, trying to cover rent after her landlord raised it again. Her body ached, her eyes burned. But Claire had learned something in her 25 years that most people never understood. Showing up mattered more than being convenient. Her parents had taught her that. Before the accident 3 years ago took them both on a rainy Tuesday morning, her mother, a school cafeteria worker, had always said, "Baby, kindness isn't about having enough. It's about giving what you can when someone needs it most." Claire drove through the empty streets to the address, an upscale neighborhood she rarely entered. The house was massive, lit up like someone hadn't slept in days. A man stood in the doorway, 34 maybe, disheveled in expensive clothes that looked slept in. His eyes were red-rimmed, desperate. "You came," he whispered, and something in his voice broke. "You actually came." Inside, a little girl, maybe 4 years old, lay on the couch, her small body racked with coughing. Her fever was visible even from across the room, her cheeks flushed, her breathing labored. "How long has she been like this?" Claire asked, already kneeling beside the child, her exhaustion forgotten. 2 days. The doctor said it was just a virus, but it's getting worse. Her mother died from pneumonia 18 months ago. It started just like this. I can't lose Rosie too. I called every number I could find. Yours was in my phone from I don't know where. I'm sorry. I just needed someone who would listen." Claire's heart twisted. She touched Rosie's forehead, felt her racing pulse, listened to her lungs. "Mr. Merrick. Holden Merrick. Mr. Merrick, your daughter needs a hospital now. They sent us home yesterday, said she was fine, that I was overreacting because of what happened to my wife." Claire looked at this man, clearly wealthy, clearly powerful in his normal life, and clearly drowning in the same terror she'd seen in her father's eyes when her mother stopped breathing in that hospital bed. "I believe you," she said quietly, "and I'm not leaving until she's safe." The ER doctors recognized Claire from her shifts. They saw Holden Merrick's expensive suit, his connections, his CEO credentials, but they listened to Claire because she spoke the language they understood. Clinical observations, symptom progression, family history that mattered. Rosie had bacterial pneumonia, rapidly advancing. Another 12 hours and they might have lost her. 3 days later, Claire sat in Rosie's hospital room during her lunch break, reading to the little girl as she recovered. She'd been coming every day, between shifts, on her way home, not because anyone asked, but because she'd seen Holden's hands shaking as he sat beside his daughter's bed, remembered how her own hands had shaken when her parents died, how desperately she'd needed someone to just be there. "Why do you keep coming?" Holden asked if she prepared to leave. "You saved her life. You don't owe us anything more." Claire was quiet for a long moment. "When my parents died, I was alone in the hospital. No family left, just nurses who had other patients, doctors with other emergencies. But one nurse, her name was Mrs. Patterson, she sat with me anyway, for hours, held my hand while I fell apart, told me I wasn't alone. She taught me that medicine isn't just about treating bodies. It's about seeing people when they're terrified and invisible. Your call came to my phone by mistake. Wrong number, wrong nurse. But you needed someone to show up, and I know what it's like to need that and have no one come." "You're not just a nurse," Holden said softly. you're someone who sees people. Over the following months, something unexpected grew. Not romance, neither of them were looking for that, but connection. Holden learned that Claire worked 70-hour weeks at an underfunded county hospital, that she'd put herself through nursing school with 3 jobs, and that she'd lost everything when her parents died, but somehow never lost her capacity for kindness. Holden learned that his wife, Morgan, had been a social worker who believed in helping people others overlooked. That her death had shattered him, made him retreat into work, made him forget the values she had lived by. That he'd been so consumed by fear of losing Rosie that he almost lost himself. "Morgan would have liked you," Holden said one afternoon, watching Claire teach Rosie how to listen to her own heartbeat with a toy stethoscope. "She always said the best people were the ones who showed up when it was hard." "She sounds like she understood what matters," Claire replied. "She did. I'd forgotten until you answered that call." Holden began volunteering at Claire's hospital, not with money, though he donated quietly, but with time. He sat with patients who had no visitors. He listened to their stories. He learned their names. And slowly he taught Rosie what Morgan had always wanted their daughter to know, that kindness was the most important inheritance anyone could leave. Claire never asked for anything. When her apartment building was condemned, Holden offered his guest house, and she insisted on paying rent, reduced, but something. When the hospital tried to cut her hours, Holden's connections helped, but Claire made sure she earned every shift. Dignity mattered to her. Being seen as capable, not pitied, mattered. "You changed my life," Holden told her 2 years later, on the anniversary of that 3 a.m. call. They were at the hospital, volunteering together, Rosie handing out books to child patients. "You showed up when you didn't have to, when you had nothing to gain. You reminded me what Morgan always knew, that showing up is everything." Claire smiled, watching Rosie make a shy little boy laugh. "You changed mine too. You taught me that showing up isn't just about being there once. It's about staying, about building something that matters with people who see you." "Claire," Holden's voice was thick with emotion, "I got the call records. That number you called, it was supposed to go to an on-call service for wealthy clients. My assistant had programmed it months ago. It got routed wrong to your personal cell somehow, a technical glitch. You weren't supposed to be the one to answer." Claire looked at him, understanding dawning. "A wrong number." "The wrong number that became the right moment," he said quietly. "You had every reason not to come. You were exhausted, broke, not responsible, but you came anyway. And you taught me that the person you are when no one's watching, when there's no reward, that's who you really are." Years later, Claire still worked at the county hospital, now as head of pediatric nursing. Holden still ran his company, but had reformed its culture around Morgan's values. Rosie, healthy and bright, volunteered alongside Claire, learning the same lessons about kindness and humanity. "Thank you," Holden said one evening, the 3 of them leaving the hospital together, "for answering that call, for coming when you didn't have to." Claire squeezed his hand, then Rosie's. "Thank you for teaching me that showing up once is just the beginning, that real kindness is what we build together every day after. Because in the end, we're all just looking for someone who will answer when we call. And sometimes the wrong number connects us to exactly the right person, if we're brave enough to show up anyway."